Hi, scholars. Here we're going to work out problem by problem and see if we can get as much as we can. I'm going to try to do each problem, and so you can go to only the problems that you need to work on. And then hopefully, basically, I'm going to do your whole homework with you this time, just because we're apart and it's a big review. All right, so let's go through, scholars, and let's remember what's the first step we're supposed to do when we have a rational function like this? Well, the first thing you're supposed to do is always completely factor. So my numerator factors into x plus 1 and x plus 1, and my denominator factors into 2x minus 3, and then we're going to have an x plus 1. All right, so what's the first thing we always look for? Well, the very first thing that we always look for is going to be our vertical asymptote. Remember, our vertical asymptote happens where the denominator is equal to 0 after we take out our common factor. So we're going to lightly take out right here an x plus 1 common factor, and we get a 2x minus 3 left over. So we just go 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, and we're going to get the fact that x is going to be over here at 3/2. So my vertical asymptote is that x equals 3/2. For some of you, think 1.5. Okay, so I go over here to 1.5, mark it, and then I draw in my vertical asymptote. Awesome. So that's the first step that we do. And then our second step that we're going to do, and I'm going to see if I can go this way. I'm going to try to keep kind of colors going together, that you're going to find the whole. Now remember, a whole occurs where there is a common factor in the numerator and denominator. Well, what was our common factor in the numerator and denominator? Well, that was your x plus 1. So we set that equal to 0, and we go, all right, x plus 1 is equal to 0. We get x is equal to a negative 1. So we know we're going to have a whole at negative 1 something. Okay, well, how do I find the y coordinate? Well, we put it in our simplified, which is going to be this portion. We're going to plug in the negative 1. So we go negative 1 plus 1 over 2 times negative 1 minus 3. And what you end up getting is 0 over, we got a negative 5. Well, 0 divided by anything is 0. So my whole is at negative 1, 0. So I go over here to negative 1, 0, and I put a circle, open circle at the whole. So far we got the best part done. Then we are going to look for our, what are we going to do next? Our zeros, correct? So when we have zeros, and I'm going to use what color for that? I'm going to use gray. I guess I'd like gray today. Okay. So, oh, you know what? We're going to change that to black. It'll show up better. All right. So our zeros is where the numerator is equal to 0 once we take care of our common factor. So that's this right here. So I go, okay, my 0 is going to be an x plus 1 is equal to 0. And we get it here at negative 1. So remember, that's an ordered pair negative 1, 0, but there's a whole. It is okay to have a whole at your 0. It just basically means everything's going to be approaching right to that spot, and we're at a good spot. So do not worry the fact that your 0 is a negative 1, because that's where it's going to, looks like it's going to be crossing the x-axis. So we are good. So our 0 this time is the same as our whole. Totally fine. Then we are going to find next our horizontal asymptote. Now remember, when you're looking for horizontal asymptotes, we look at the degrees. So I'm going to look at the original function, my original equation, and I look to see what do I know about the degrees of my leading coefficients. Well, in this case, they are equal to each other. All right, so we have an x squared and an x squared. So then my horizontal asymptote is a result of the ratio of their coefficients. Well, what's the ratio here? Well, that would be y is equal to, and we'd get what? 1 over 2, because 1 is in front of the x squared in the numerator, 2 is in front of the x squared in the denominator. So our horizontal asymptote is at 1/2. So it'd be like right here, crossing the y-axis. Wow, that's really bad. You guys know I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, so we're not doing too bad. We got our lovely asymptotes here. what is the thing that we do last? And I'm just going to go back again to our other points. Now, the other points help me know if there's other things that we're going to have to draw in. So how do we know where to test other points? You always want to look to the other side of your vertical asymptote. So I'm going to look at the numbers, so which is over here, right, my friends? We want to look that direction. I'm going to pick probably 2 just because it is a simple point to do. So I'm going to plug in 2, and I'm going to plug it into where I took the common factors out again. So remember, that's your x plus 1 over 2x minus 3. That's where I took the common factors out. So I'm going to plug 2 into that. So I get 2 plus 1 over what? We get here 2 times 2 minus 3. So that gives me 3 over 1. So what do we have? We're going to get 2, 3. Now, some of you are like, what if I picked a different number than that? I'm like, okay, not a problem. Pick a different one if you want to. You could do multiple other points. You just don't have to. But let's say if I picked 3. Okay, what would we get if we picked a 3 there for another point? And you can always do this if you want to check. Or remember, when you're done, check yourself on a calculator and see if it gets a pretty good idea of where it's going. So if I do this again, I could go 3 plus 1 over 2 times 3 minus 3. Right? What do we get here? Do we get 3 plus? Where am I getting my values here? Yeah. Plugging it in. And I get 4 over, we get 3. So 3, we get, what is our value here? 1 1/3, so it'll be about right here. So let's draw in our graph. So where I can see with my other points, for this side, we're going to be looking something in this manner. And over here on the right, we're going to be approaching, and it'll look something like that. And close enough. It's a very great, easy thing for us to do, and we'll have it down, so I'm pretty excited. All right, scholars, if there's anything else, I think we're pretty good on that one. All right, so I will pause this one, and then we'll go back, and I'll do the next problem after that. And we're going to go here.